Warning. This episode may contain certain scenes that some viewers may find disturbing, so viewer discretion is advised. Danganronpa Togami, Volume 2, Chapter 8. The biggest worst incident in the history of the Togami family, Unreality Volume. Part 1. Kazuya, freshly accused of multiple murders, gets locked into the basement prison cell, where he despairs and begins cursing everyone's name. He curses Nanamura for falsely accusing him, he curses Mitsuzo for hiring Nanamura and setting him up, he curses all his siblings for not saving him. He curses his sister. So, you want to take over the world or something? Is this why you're behaving so murderously? From the cell where I should have been alone, there came a voice. A hallucination, right? I'm over here. Right here. When I looked over my shoulder, a girl was standing there. She had long hair and was wearing a plain dress. Her face was unbelievably white with two wet-looking eyes. I didn't recognize her. Could this be the true 15th competitor? She really existed after all? So then I hadn't been included from the start. My despair deepened. So you're Kijo-kun's heir? You don't look much like him. Kijo-kun? Did she mean the current head of the family? If so, this is a very unusual way to refer to him. Hey, how did you get into this cell? Oh, I got here like this. The girl struck the ground with a light noise. Part of the floor opened, and it must have been a secret passageway or something. But why would that kind of thing in a prison cell meant to lock someone up? Oh, you have to get used to it. The girl replaced the floor tile with some difficulty. Oh, the trick is to hit the corner really hard. That aside, who are you? Oh, me? I'm Kudan, the Pitiable. Kudan? How do you write that? What does she mean by pitiable? Oh, of course, that's just a nickname. It doesn't really matter what I'm called, the girl named Kudan said without interest. I've been called many things besides that. Kudabe, the bovine one, Ushioni, Amabi, Amabiko, Satori Demon, Cow Woman, SCP...
Redacted.
Oh, but I think the only one I can't forgive now is Cow Woman. That one's really rude. So, what's your name? My name is Kazuya. You write it as Calm Night. Oh, wow. That's an appropriate name fitting of Kijo-kun. Why do you use kun to refer to the head of the family? Why do you use head of the family to refer to your father? Nothing to say? You're a pain, huh? Are you nervous? Let me put you at ease. This is top secret, but Kijo-kun was originally named Taro. No offense to the Taros of the world, but when choosing a name, that should probably be the first one you throw out. I guess Kijo-kun's lack of naming sense is hereditary. He changed his name? I didn't know that. Oh, it's less he changed his name and more that I changed it for him. Why is that? Stealing names is just what I do. I mean, the most precious thing in the world is your name. If only you have a name, the virtual becomes real. Fake and genuine. Official and unofficial. All of those things get invalidated. Hey, are you listening? The Kudan tilts her head in Kazuya's direction, but he decides that because he has no clue what's going on here, he's going to stay quiet. He doesn't want to say too much. That's what got him in trouble with Nanamura. Kudan notes that she gets it. He doesn't know these things because he grew up without being loved. Kazuya mentally notes that it's lucky that Kudan's so chatty, as she goes on to say that he really is a pathetic. People raised without love go on to try and conquer the world. Kazuya argues that he was raised with love after all, but Kudan smirks at him and asks if that's why he ended up here in the dungeon. Kazuya realizes he can't just stay quiet at this time, and he announces that he's won. I mustered my courage. What would happen now? What would this turn out? Kudan gazed at me, her eyes like deep holes, her black, wet eyes. I recognized those eyes. They were the same as a herbivore, a cow. Yep, congratulations, the cowwoman said. With this, you may learn the secret to the Togami family's prosperity. Now then, your most precious possession, please. My most precious possession? Isn't it obvious? Your name. The name Togami Kazuya. Of course, there was nothing more important to me than my name Togami Kazuya. It was the only proof of my connection to Nei-san, after all. It was the gold medal that linked me to the Togami family. It was a record of my own existence. Kazuya gives the go-ahead, and Kudan puts her finger on his forehead. Apparently, that's all it takes for her to take his name, though he feels it is a bit anticlimactic. He tries not to let that show, because he doesn't need Kudan thinking that he's suspicious of all this. Kudan announces that the deed is now done, and that he is no longer Kazuya. Now nameless, he is her possession, and cannot flee from her. He can no longer call himself Kazuya, and the second he does, their deal will be void. Which this line is a bit ambiguous, because it also could mean that no one is allowed to call him Kazuya, but I don't know if that would be easy to pull off. He is her Kazuya only. He cannot take even one step away from her. Despite how alarmingly ominous this all is, he's quite taken with the phrase, my Kazuya only. That said, he still does have a question. What should he call himself, now that he is nameless? Kudan says it's up to him, and starts listing off some names that were appropriate to Taro. The character formerly known as Kazuya latches onto one of these names. Byakuya. Ah, you like that one? The never-setting sun, the symbol of eternity. I like it. I've decided to use it. I quietly adjusted my glasses. From today, I am Byakuya Togami, heir to the Togami conglomerate. Yes, congratulations, Kudan said again. Look, everything is so simple so long as you have a name. Reality and unreality are the same. Your world is like that. You all live without realizing that it one day is destroyed, ends, and begins anew. Well then, in a lieu of salutations, why don't I offer you some predictions? Predictions? Did she say predictions? The urge to ask more questions bubbled up, but I suppressed it. Kudan turned her cow-like eyes on me and uttered this in a strange voice.
Release is coming. Examine the wall. Be wary of repetition. Shall turn to dust. Because of this, Byakuya shall be victorious.
What was that? Ah, didn't you know? Predicting the future is my job. Carrying these predictions out is your job, isn't it, Byakuya? My job. You want to take over the world, don't you? Huh? No matter how you try to hide it or conceal it, it's written all over your face. If you've gotten my predictions, of course it's possible. The Kudan opened the secret passageway, and with a "see you," she disappeared. It was such a plain exit that I couldn't even follow her. Footsteps were drawing closer. I slapped my own cheeks, fixed my glasses, and did my best to look like the timid boy who had been imprisoned. Takuya appeared in front of the cell. He looked absolutely exhausted. Kazuya-kun, I'm here to let you out. Let me out? I should apologize. Do you want to see? Well, probably you should see for yourself. What happened? Well, the true criminal confessed, or rather, killed himself. Part 2. Takuya takes the newly christened Byakuya to Mitsuzo's room, where he's hung himself from the chandelier and left a note saying that he has committed the murders and hired Nanamura to pin it on someone else. However, the weight of his own sins was too much for him, so he took his own life. He notes that his brother Takia was unaware of all this, and apologizes. Takia shakily says that he found Mitsuzo like this about an hour ago. The door wasn't locked, and if only he'd arrived sooner. The clock strikes 4, and Byakuya looks around, recalling the Kudan's first prediction. Release is coming. He asks Takia if he's informed the others, and Takia replies, of course. Shinobu cried at the news, and Suzuhiko obviously just guffawed. Byakuya then asks if this couldn't be a murder set up to look like a suicide. Takia says that there's only evidence of the noose, and nothing indicating that he was strangled first and then strung up. Besides, the suicide note is definitely in his brother's handwriting, which Pennyworth can attest to. Though Takia laments that this is what he was afraid of, he composes himself and says that now is only the beginning. They can really focus on the competition. Now that the culprit is dead, the competition ends at noon the following day. Byakuya has forgotten about the competition entirely since finding the Kudan. He's already crossed the finish line before even gaining the family's head reliance. However, he can't let Takia know that. So he decides to just answer him normally. That is, Part 3. Until they hear a sound from coming outside. Takia and Byakuya dash outdoors to see a helicopter hovering over the island. Since my client is dead, there is no reason for me to stay here. The detective, Nanamura, was standing on the helicopter deck. Damn you, are you running away? Kazuya-kun, congratulations on your acquittal. Shut up! It was simple to unlock your room using nothing but my own hands. Security in this castle should really be improved. Shut up. With my client Mitsuzo dead, I have only received the advance fee, but it was quite generous. I'm grateful to the Togami conglomerate. I hope you call me if another case comes up. Shut up! Nanamura tells Takia that if things go according to the odds, he'll probably be the winner as the one ranked gold. Takia and Byakuya glare at him while the others rush out of the castle, begging to be taken to the mainland. Nanamura tells them that the helicopter is overweight and that they still have the competition to complete. Horses have to finish their races, after all. He wishes them luck and says goodbye. His helicopter circling the island once before disappearing off into the distance. Susei Nanamura, everybody. Byakuya gets the feeling that out of everyone, Nanamura made out the best. He used his talents to their fullest and then took the greatest reward. Wholeheartedly, I made a half prediction, half curse. Somehow, that detective would get into a dangerous situation thanks to his own greed. Then he'd fall into despair because of his own talent and commit suicide. Well, Kazuya, I've got some good news for you. Kazuya! Nei-san hugged me tightly. A sweet aroma spread around me, and I felt as though I would melt. Nei-san. But I'm not Kazuya anymore. I'm Togami Byakuya, the heir to the Togami conglomerate. I've won. It's all over, so there's no reason to worry anymore. Nei-san, why are you crying? Part 4. Since this is the first time no one's had to fear death in a while, they all go to the cafeteria to eat. Byakuya is feeling pretty good about all things, and all he has to do is hang out till tomorrow, and he'll have won. So, long as no one finds out how to gain their father's reliance, he's got this in the bag thanks to the Kudan. Then Shiro opens his big mouth and starts blabbering about the competition and about how the winner will not only become heir, but will also learn the secret to the Togami family's prosperity, and about how he sent someone else in the castle this whole time. While Byakuya is mentally screaming at him to shut up, Ayumi chimes in and says that she saw someone, a girl, on the other landing the other night. She disappeared when she got closer, but Ayumi couldn't find evidence of any trick or anything to explain how she got away. Shiro wonders if they should take another look at that forbidden space. Byakuya excuses himself and heads back to his room, thinking to himself on the way that perhaps he should have been a little less conspicuous there. On the way, he remembers Kudan's second prophecy. Examine the wall. His feet naturally take him to Mitsuzo's room, where the body has cleaned up a bit, but everything else is undisturbed. Like Saburo's room, the walls are covered in paintings. Byakuya imagines Nanamura priced them all off while meeting here with Mitsuzo to frame him. That detective. He's the one Byakuya will never forgive. Seething, Byakuya checks behind all the paintings and comes up empty-handed. As he mulls over this, the clock strikes 10. The clock. He removes it from the wall and finds a button there. And without hesitation, he presses it. He hears pulleys, and then with a shudder the floor begins to descend, as if he's in an elevator. Looking up, Byakuya sees that the ceiling is awfully high up. So is the chandelier. In fact, you can't reach it at all, even by standing on a chair. Byakuya sees the rope dangling and then looks around, seeing nothing but 4 walls, and he understands. This is why the forbidden space exists. To allow room to the floor to descend like this. He presses the button again, and goes back up to his starting position, looking as though nothing is out of place. It doesn't take him long to piece together what happened. Writing the suicide note, putting the noose around Mitsuzo's neck, making it appear to be a suicide. There is only one person in the castle who could have done it. Togami Takia. It's all his fault. Using his talent as the Super Junior high school level agitator, he deceived Mitsuzo and then pressed the button himself to kill him. He's probably also Nanamura's true client. He's just used his brother as a scapegoat. The gold-ranked competitor, fanning the flames and dancing atop this stage of his own making. But Nei-san was in trouble. I dashed out of the room. I scrambled and finally arrived outside the cafeteria. Beep, 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 beep. Some kind of mechanical noise had taken over the castle. What was that sound? What happened this time? Please cease this at once. It was Pennyworth's voice. It was the first time I'd heard him sound so upset. Why would Pennyworth-san, who remained so calm throughout the murders, sound like that? I had a very bad feeling about this, but I didn't have the luxury of choice. I could either enter the cafeteria, or go back and lock myself in my room. I didn't have options like these. My only choice was to go inside. It was within my reach. My hand would not be broken. I had to make it to noon tomorrow. Tranquilly and peacefully. Nothing strange would happen. For my sake. For Nei-san's sake. I'd stake the Togami name on it. But faster than my decision, the strangeness came to me. Jiro-san, holding a knife, came out of the cafeteria. Takia told me everything. The voice sounded too insane to be coming from Jiro-san's throat. I beg of you, please desist, Jiro-sama, Pennyworth said, and he sprang from the cafeteria. You cannot. Please calm yourself. Never! With a knife in his hand, Jiro stabbed Pennyworth-san in the gut. Beep, beep, beep. Watching this murder take place with my own 2 eyes, I felt strangely carefree. Oh, so that's what it was. The kitchen was broken into, so the alarm was going off. Beep, beep, beep. When Jiro-san removed the knife, Pennyworth-san collapsed to the floor. Blood spread from him at an alarming rate. Jiro-san turned his sight to the motionless Pennyworth-san to me. In his eyes was bloodlust, and nothing else. Next is you! He raised the bloody knife. Something crashed into me, and I suddenly realized that I had fallen to the floor. Above me was Nei-san. Are you okay? This is... Look out! I kicked Nei-san off of me. The next moment, and the knife flashed where her neck would have been. Jiro stumbled. I kicked him in the leg, but that attack did nothing to the super high school level karate master. He immediately regained his balance and moved to catch me on his knife. A scream drowned out the alarm. Both Jiro and I instinctively stopped. We suddenly realized that Ayumi-san was standing there, gaping at the madness before her. Her usual poker face was gone, replaced with that of a terrified girl. Jiro-san ran up to her and in a burst of anger, slit her pale throat. Fresh blood began to spurt all over Jiro-san's burly body. Like that, I could only see him as a demon. Ayumi looked like she wanted to say something, but because her throat was cut, she couldn't speak. Nothing but wheezing air came out. Before long, Ayumi's life left her body, and she crumpled to the floor. Jiro-san, no, the demon, turned his gaze on Nei-san. Nei-san, run! In response to my words, she made to run, but her leg was caught, and it kept her from walking, causing her to fall down. Die! The insane voice and the insane blade moved to attack Nei-san, but Jiro-san's knife was stopped a hair's breadth from Nei-san. A new blade and a new insanity had blocked Jiro-san's attack. Well, fuck me! I thought you'd just kill people while I was out of the loop. And hey, a karate guy shouldn't be using a karate-style fist to fight. An amateur with a blade only ends up cutting himself. Anyway, a pretty girl wouldn't want to look at a muscly boy like you even if you cut your wrists. It was the first time I was ever grateful to hear that laugh. It was my big brother, the former super high school level hitman Togami Suzuhiko. Nei-san. Ah! This is a surprise, Kazuya-kun. How many years has it been since I heard the word Nei-san from your cute little mouth? Adorable! Oh my maternal instincts are welling up. But I'm the big brother. I'm a man, so I don't have any maternal instincts. Byakuya asks Suzuhiko what's going on, and he replies that he's the one who should be asking that. He then quotes a detective novel and then starts fighting back against Jiro. Hey, Karate Kid! He says at one point, asking Jiro why he's going around killing everybody. Jiro roars that he heard, and Suzuhiko says that he asked because he hasn't heard. Apparently, Takuya told Jiro that all the others are responsible for Ichiro's death. I don't know if this includes his two younger brothers, like if he doesn't care about them because it never really comes up. Suzuhiko has to take a moment to remember who Ichiro is, complaining that he can't be expected to remember some small fry who died back at the beginning of the story, which infuriates Jiro. They fight, and it seemingly are evenly matched. Suzuhiko does more musing on blades, talking about how the kitchen knives just don't do it for him, and he prefers his own knives with a hole in them. In case we didn't pick up from the last book that he really loves knives. During this, Shinobu has managed to hobble away, dragging herself up the stairs by the handrail. Byakuya wants to follow her, but there's kind of a knife fight going on in the way, so he instead takes off down the hallway. There he runs into Shiro, and the two of them decide to talk while running. Byakuya fills them in on what's happened so far. The secret of Mitsuzo's room, the faked suicide, Jiro going crazy, Pennyworth and Ayumi being stabbed, Suzuhiko coming to the rescue, how Shinobu strayed off. Shiro, ever perceptive, notes that it was awfully clever to think to look for the button. Was that all his own idea? Byakuya redirects the conversation to about how Takuya is the mastermind, and the two agree to find him. Shiro wonders why he's trying to kill them all. Byakuya assumes that's because he feels like it, and Shiro responds that he must have given up on getting the Reliance and aims to be the only one left standing at the end of the competition. He suggests that they ask him directly what he's up to, though Byakuya doubts he'll give up this info so easily. However, Shiro believes that Suzuhiko will get the better of Jiro, and once he's out of the picture, Takuya will become more vulnerable. Byakuya takes stock of who is still left after Jiro's defeat. Himself, Shinobu, Suzuhiko, Shiro, the culprit Takuya, and Saburo. As it was from the start, the only person Byakuya can trust is Shinobu. The two boys run around the castle, checking the rooms. The alarm at some point stopping. They can't find Takuya, which is to be expected. Once he set Jiro on his murderous rampage, he'd likely holed up somewhere until everyone else was dead. Byakuya curses this, and Shiro looks at him, asking if he doubts him. Byakuya sputters, asking why the heck Shiro would ask that right at this moment, and the other boy tells him that he's just realized what the reliance refers to. Byakuya goes as white as a sheet from this. Shiro goes on to say that it's just his intuition, but he's pretty sure he isn't wrong. If he were to tell Byakuya what it is, would he believe him? Shiro-kun? Answer me. But you're the one who realized it. I have no interest in being a Togami successor. Huh? I want to become a musician. Shiro-kun had said something incomprehensible. A musician? You're saying you want to be a musician more than the heir to the Togami conglomerate? Yeah. An immediate answer. So I want to share my plan with you. I want to trust me on this. Shiro-kun, you're not making any sense to me. Something more important than being a Togami? There isn't anything? Huh. Well, but there is. This time will come when you understand that too. No way, you're joking, right? No thanks. Please don't destroy my whole worldview. There's only the Togami name. Being a Togami is all that matters. Because that's all you have? Because that's all I have. It's an illusion. You probably don't have any Togami blood in you, and well, you can't take it by force. You need to treasure what you have in your grasp now. But I'm empty. I truly believe that. If you take the Togami name from me, there will be nothing left. Is that so? For a single moment, Shiro looked extremely sad. If that's the case, now I have to tell you the meaning of reliance. Even if you refuse, I'm going to say it anyway. So, our father's reliance is... Something sprung up from the shadows and crashed into Shiro-kun. Two figures tumbled into the hallway, fiercely grappling. Before long, I heard a short scream, and just after, a different scream. There was two dead bodies. One was Shiro-kun's. The other was someone who should have been long dead. Togami Yoru. Part 6. Byakuya is standing there, thinking about how he's suddenly transcending abnormal daily life into a plane of unreality, wondering such things as why Yoru was alive just a few moments ago, or why her head and torso are still attached. Was it because the doll was a ruse? Byakuya is trembling and scrambling to grab hold of any drop of reality he can find. He reaches out to touch Yoru's body. It's got a knife sticking out of the chest and is still warm, just as if she died. No matter how he looks at her, it's definitely Yoru. Her artificial looking face, her dress-like clothes, her lips that even now look like they're about to say something. It's definitely Togami Yoru. This isn't a doll, this isn't CG, or a robot, or any other similar trick. If it's a ghost, the worst possible outcome must still be waiting. Beside Yoru is Shiro with his neck slit. He's a perfect corpse, as if they were just having a conversation a few minutes ago. Byakuya thinks about Shiro a bit, feeling bad he couldn't do anything, feeling badly that he never got to become a musician. Despite what he thinks, the bodies do not respond. Byakuya decides that he, as the one still living, needs to keep going. However, he isn't sure how to proceed in this bizarre new plane of unreality. Will logic work here? Can he really reach some kind of conclusion? He doesn't have any clue. Wait. The predictions. The next one to come true should be the third one in the sequence. These predictions are his only recourse in this unreal world. Be wary of repetition. This stumps Byakuya. Oh, come on, what the hell does repetition mean? He must be overlooking something big. Oh, come on, what's the big thing? Well, there's the small matter of how Yoru, who was supposed to be beheaded, is now in one piece again. So, how'd that happen? Resurrection? Eternal youth? No. He has to use logic as a weapon, and not accept the unreality. But he can't think of anything. Time is ticking away. Byakuya wonders what happened with Jiro and Suzuhiko. This isn't really the time to stand around calmly and think about things. Huh? That scream just now. Nei-san. I suddenly felt nauseous and spewed vomit everywhere. Nei-san. It was such a strange sight, these two bodies covered in vomit. Nei-san. Then I came to my senses. Nei-san! I pushed my weak legs into action and ran. The hallway felt terribly soft. I ran and I ran, but I felt as though I wasn't moving forward, frustratingly sluggish. Then I felt nauseous a second time. Knock it off, this isn't the time to throw up. I had to get to Nei-san as fast as possible. There wasn't a second to lose. On unsteady feet, I managed to make it to Nei-san's room. Nei-san! I opened the door. Togami Yoru was stabbing my sister with a knife. Nei-san's face was covered in blood and her left arm was dyed bright red. Yoru-san was riding her like a horse, humming and seemingly enjoying her slaughter. Perhaps she had not had the strength to fight back, or perhaps because her arm was being stabbed over and over and over and over and over and over. Nei-san didn't budge. Over and over and over and over. What was that about repetition? Huh, what the? Still alive, huh? You sure are a tough little brat. As if it were a pain, Yoru-san got off my unmoving sister. Oh, looks like Takiya's got a weird thought in his head, huh? Taking advantage of the fuss and going on a killing spree. You got me thinking that this has got to be the way to get Dad's reliance. Ha 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 ha! The chance that we'll be the winners is 100%. Who are you? Ah! I'm the super high school level weather forecaster, Togami Hiru. Hiru means midday, by the way. It's not like weather only happens in the morning and at night, right? That'd be unnatural. You always gotta have noon too. Upon answering in an unbalanced tone of voice, the girl called Togami Hiru let out a vulgar laugh. When did you get to the island? Oh, I've been here from the start, of course. I'm a legit daughter of Togami Kijo, after all. Unlike a certain somebody. We're the Asahiru Yoru triplets. Been here since the very beginning. Playing chess and eating with all you. You didn't notice? But what? I wanted to refute this strange existence as soon as possible, but on the first day there was no Togami Hiru listed in the odds. Huh? I don't know what you're talking about. Those odds were just something made by those guys who wanted to make a game out of the competition. All it means is that they didn't know I existed. Huh, no wonder. I hid myself like a pro after all. You were hiding? Well, the more chips you got in the game, the better. Just like that detective said. But you don't gotta put them all on the board right away, you know? The fog of unreality began to clear. I finally understood what the third prediction meant. The Asahiru Yoru triplets made us all think they were Asa and Yoru twins by switching out with Togami Hiru. It was probable that they'd all had taken part in vacancies. It was highly likely. It was a practice run for this very competition. Of course, Pennyworth-san knew about Togami Hiru, but he probably thought the rest of us already knew about her and didn't bother to say anything. Or maybe they asked him to conceal her existence? It was possible that they'd used such an underhanded trick. In fact, everyone but me had likely used similar tactics. In hindsight, no one would ever know the truth, since everyone would tell a different story. So, how the hell did all three of you ride on the boat? Oh, by using our brains, but yeah, that was the trickiest part. The first day, 15 siblings were split up onto 2 boats and brought to the island. On my boat there had been Togami Asa, the doll, Togami Yoru, Then on the other boat, there had been Togami Asa, the real one, and Togami Hiru. Because the competition had started the moment we stepped on the boats, off the boats. Because the competition had started the moment we stepped off the boats, there probably wasn't anyone who would bother to remember what happened aboard them. Furthermore, once the serial killings began, we'd even be less inclined to think about it. And just to make sure, the 8th day. Thanks to Yoru-san's excellent idea, the doll was exposed and everyone had thought that Yoru-san was an only child. But in truth, leaving out myself and the doll version of Asa, and adding in the real Asa in Hiru, the competitors is 1. Ichiru, 2. Jiro, 3. Sabaru, 4. Shiro, 5. Mitsuzo, 6. Takuya, 7. Yusuke, 8. Asagao, 9. Wasuke, 10. Ayumi, 11. Asa, 12. Hiru, 13. Yoru, 14. Suzuhiko, 15. Shinobu. Exactly 15 people. It turned out that I hadn't been standing at the start line of the air race after all. I couldn't smile. I was going to cry. I'm going to cry, I said, because it was true. This is despair. Who knew that there was this kind of despair? Who knows? But you're in despair. From here you'll fall to the bottom of despair, be in a state of despair, and in the end die miserably. Speaking of dying miserable deaths, Togami Asa's the one who died miserably. I was shocked to hear those words leave my own mouth. Ah, so I could say these kind of things too? What did you say? Togami Hiro narrowed her eyes. Did you kill Asane-chan? You bastard! Her demeanor had just completely changed, and not for the better either. It truly was a Volca death. She stumbled over and over like a dung beetle, and in the end her death meant nothing. Absolutely nothing. Hey, knock it off! I'll kill anyone who makes fun of Asane-chan, I'll kill you right now. While screeching this, Togami Hiro readied her blade and lunged at me. But before she could stab me, a hole opened in her chest. I'm surprised. This is the first time that this has worked so well. What the... This... is... Without understanding a single thing, Togami Hiro breathed her last breath. Paying no attention to her corpse, I ran to Nei-chan's side. She was full of holes. Blood was spurting from her face, and she was bleeding profusely from her arm. But she was not breathing. She was alive. Nei-san, I'm so glad. I'm here now, so it's okay. Hey, look. I'm not Kazuya anymore. I'm not that weakling Kazuya. I'm Togami Byakuya. I've got the Kudan on my side. I have her predictions. I've got this power. I'll protect you, so you don't have to worry. I'll protect you from all of them. The Togamis, the world, Suzuhiko, I have the power to do that now. No one can defeat me now. To prevent another attack, I locked the door. I looked over my shoulder. My bloodied sister. She was beautiful. Looking at my unmoving sister, I shuddered. Nei-san. No. My adopted sister. We weren't linked by blood. So... we could love... So... we could love one another. Right? We could make love. I wasn't like that other man. We could share legitimate love. Part 7. I wonder if you can hear me. I'm the culprit, I said, while loving Nei-san. Well, that's enough for today. Okay? Yeah, that happened. Big oof. Fuck Kazuya, basically. Like, no excuses. Kazuya is literally the worst character in the entire series. Absolutely no excuses, hands down. This is like one of the worst things he's done, and worse is still yet to come from this absolute bastard of a character. Hashtag fuck Kazuya. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed whatever the hell that was. Don't worry if you're confused about anything, because a lot of this shit gets explained, and especially the stuff in the later part of the chapter. A lot of it is just completely just what the hell inducing. You'll notice a common theme if you're familiar with Danganronpa, and you hear the theme unreality, you'll kind of guess what's going on. But let's go over some translator's notes, which is basically just it's the return of the translator's notes, everyone. How cool! So first we have a whole heap of Kudam names like Ushioni, Amabi, Amabiko, and Satori Demon. Without clicking, it's just me opening the links for their Wikipedia articles. So the Ushioni, or known as the Gyuki, is a creature which appears in the folklore of Japan. They are various kind of Ushioni, and all of them have some sort of monster with a horned bovine head. Now, an Ushioni is the term for a woman with a cow's head, as opposed to the Kudan, which is a cow with a woman's head. Or in this case, the Kudan actually just being a person with cow-looking eyes. Who is the Kudan? Well, we'll find out in Volume 3. It's fun time. The Amabi is a legendary Japanese mermaid or merman with 3 legs, who allegedly emerges from the sea and prophesies either abundant harvests or an epidemic. So quite similar to the Kudan. And the Amabiko is the group of that the Amabi belongs to. And the Satori Demon is a mind-reading supernatural monster, which is said to live within the mountains of Hida and Minu, so Gifu Prefecture. People are said to meet them while walking mountain paths or resting up on the mountains, and they can read a person's mind. So they say that the person's thoughts are allowed faster than a human could. Yeah, and by the way, yes, Japan does know about SCP, if you were wondering. And also if you've been wondering about the redacteds put into the audiobook series so far. I remember in chapter 1, that was some good editing. That was I think that's from the SCP podcast, I believe. So yeah, here's a big translator's note. Giving out some of these names is quite difficult because there are basically no Wikipedia pages for the Kudan. So a lot of them have links, but stuff like the Kudabe doesn't even have an entry on Wikipedia. So the best you can really look at is a Yu-Gi-Oh card of all things, but it's spelt incorrectly. But it's not really important since that's just literally a different name for the Kudan anyway. So yeah, there's your half human, half cow, whatever. I love the bovine one. It's a great name. So yeah, the name Cowwoman, however, is an interesting. So here the Kudan takes offense to be called Ushiona, and on the Japanese wiki page for Kudan it says the Ushiona was a legend that started circulating during the restoration post-World War II. Apparently there were rumors of finding a cow woman's body among burnt down wreckage following air raids. For instance, in one case, it was said that the daughter of a butcher gave birth to the monstrosity and it was locked in a room until the air raid. Creepy and also kind of relevant. However, there were 3 distinct differences between a Kudan and an Ushiona. A Kudan is born from a cow and an Ushiona is born from a human. And a Kudan is a cow with a human face, and the Ushiona is a woman with a cow face. And the Kudan is intelligent to speak human language, but the Ushiona isn't necessarily. Now, I'd like to point out, Great Gozu. His design is designed off an Ushiona. Yeah, Gozu, I'm pretty sure is like bull or something, but well, that's that for cow people. Yeah, and also Byakuya Togami, the real Byakuya Togami, his birthday is May the 5th, which makes him a Taurus, which is the horoscope, which is like a bull, a cow. Yeah, very, very cow, very good. Oh yeah, when Shiro says, "I want you to trust me on this," the same word they use for trust they use to refer to the family head's reliance is the same basically. So there wasn't a proper way to translate the kanji into a single reusable phrase originally. So it was originally trust, and then figured reliance would be close to what they were going for. So it could be a bit of a retcon. So instead of the family's reliance, it would be the family trust. But it's not. It's a bit, who knows what it could mean either way. Oh yeah, and when Hiru dies, Togami Hiru, her last words are the exact same as Mikuru Ikusaba. Well, unless you count Killer Killer, but I think the last words in DR1. Oh yeah, and when Togami Hiru says she narrowed her eyes, that there's a certain phrase that doesn't really translate into English, which basically means her demeanor has changed. So yeah, that was Togami for this week. Well, the next episode will probably be the most batshit insane episode, just full stop. But don't worry, everything gets explained in a completely rational way that'll make you go, oh wow, okay, that's actually pretty interesting. And I can see that Togami is in fact not actually crazy and is a worthy entry into the series after all. I'm looking at you, George Joestar. Well, I hope you all enjoyed today's episode. I will see you in the next one. Take care, everybody.